Hello, hello. Having a little camera problems. Bear with me for a second. Load up the questions in the meantime. Come on in, come on in. Come on, camera. Be right back. Be right back. Hear me now? Hear me now? Hear me now? Yeah, I can see it. Looks like it might be audio only, which sucks. Burks, big, physical, but not the greatest route craft. And the Titans don't love guys who aren't particularly good with routes. So I don't know where they'd stand on him, but I think he's an attractive guy in terms of what he brings body wise. And I would imagine they could do certain things with him right out of the gates and develop some of that route craft. There's going to be a hole in anybody at 26 in a draft that's largely regarded as 15 to 18 players. I don't know why I can't get my camera to work. I'm hitting a having issues button here. So a lot of people have Zion Johnson gone. A lot of people have Kenyon Green gone. I mean, I think there could be a dearth of choices. That's why, we may have to think about an alternate position if they can't get out of there. And you could see him take a defensive back to load up there. Say the Chargers wind up adding to Williams and Allen with a great receiver in the late teens. Well, are the Titans equipped to stop three great receivers? I don't know. Elijah Molden is going to get beat deep. You can only scheme up so much. I know the pass rush is great, but maybe they take a defensive back there. I think they'd like to get out, but everybody wants to get out, and so how much can you do there? John's still working on this camera, which isn't great for you guys at all. Sucks. I don't know why anything would have changed. Look at that. Ridiculous that it took that long. Hallelujah. In the meantime, everybody left. Dulcich is an interesting guy, Dwayne. He's a hell of a talker. I'd love him in the locker room for sure. I have no idea how they feel about Tyler Smith, but I mean, he could be a guy. They're forced to it could be the guy that's at that they're at on the list of offensive linemen by the time they get there. Robert Deerfish said he likes Linderbaum, can play center and guard. I don't know that there's any definitive proof that he could play guard. I don't know that anybody knows that he can play guard. Yeah, I don't think Briley Moore is the thing, Brian. You always love to go to guys who are, scrubs. Do we think they're not drafting a tight end because of Briley Moore? And Nakobe Dean, Josh got dinged today. Matt Miller says Nakobe Dean and the other inside linebacker both are being downgraded for physical stuff that could drag him into the second round. The guy that kept getting mocked to the Titans. I don't know, but Zach Cunningham's pretty locked in. So, I mean, if you're willing to say that Long and Rice aren't long-term solutions, I guess you could go there. I agree. You could find a guard in the third, probably. Lindenbaum, I mean, Adam, you're saying of the straight guards, somebody's your favorite, and you like Lindenbaum as well. But Lindenbaum there's no evidence that he can play guard. So I don't know why you'd be mentioning him with the straight guards. Josh Vrabel said he has no interest in Tyler Vrabel, and Tyler Vrabel will be scouted by 31 other teams, and he's excited to see where he lands and what his next chapter is, but that Tyler in Nashville wouldn't be good for anybody. Yeah. Considering how well they did with Rashaan Evans at 22, a linebacker seems ridiculous at 26, conceivably a two-down player, unless Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean is regarded as just absolutely phenomenal. I don't know. They've been getting shredded by Jonathan Taylor with the linebackers that they have. They're not moving Ben Jones at this stage of his career. I don't see that happening. Yeah, but Brian, It's a questionable draft, so people don't want picks in the 20s. So who's trading a veteran for a pick in the 20s? Solutions you come up with are crazy sometimes. So the guys that I put on my like mini board for the Titans started with Burks, who I don't think will be there, and Zion Johnson is my pick if he's there, and I don't think he's going to be there. Kenyon Green, is he there? Tyler Smith is probably there. Strong. They love power. He's raw. He needs polish and technique. He can play guard, but he's more of a tackle. Dylan Radins fucks this whole thing up, and Isaiah Wilson fucked that whole thing up. So blame it on Isaiah Wilson. Andrew Booth, cornerback from Clemson, or what about Dax? Maybe, he's a safety that comes forward a ton. He could play that Crookshank role, which is a role that definitely don't have filled right now, right? I mean, there are a lot of safeties around that you could pick up still. I mean, there's a guy like Matthias Farley, right? I think he's unsigned, but you want him? The thing about D linemen is, you carry 5 and you activate 4 now. And so you've got Simmons. Autry's going to be active as a defensive lineman, not as an outside linebacker. After Davis, who's the interior defensive lineman you want? And you want to draft a 2-down guy? I don't know. I think they could trade back into the second round, Dwayne. Who though? Like who wants to come up? Who are they coming up for? I mean, I guess you could hope that the quarterbacks are there. Somebody comes up for the quarterback. I think Ritter and Corral are going to be there. If they want to go quarterback, they're probably going to have that crack, but I don't see it. Sammy Dean. I don't know if Mark Mendenhall. I mean, I don't know if the Titans were in long term. It turned out that they weren't in with Avery Williamson long term, and it turned out that they weren't in with Jayon Brown long term, and so maybe they're not in with long term. But then the guy would be Monty Rice, right? I mean, they're not. I don't think you're taking a first rounder in that spot. You're taking 4th, 5th, 6th rounders in that spot. It seems like a spot you can turn over. Those are smaller guys who, kind of can get beat up and worn down, and then you bring in another one. Monty Rice is the next one, it would seem to me. I'm not sold on any of the quarterbacks. I'm not sold on Ritter. I mean, I think he's smart. He processes well, but you don't fix accuracy. And Chad and I were talking about it on Outkick 360 today that one of the best things that happened for Josh Allen's accuracy, which has certainly gotten better, but one of the best things that happened that quote unquote improved his accuracy was Stephon Diggs, who has a tendency to improve people's accuracy because he catches a lot of stuff that's thrown at him, whether it's, dead on target or not. Tight ends. I like it helps me to have the list in front of me to contextualize it. I mean, I don't think they'll have a crack at McBride or at Ruckert. I like Jelani Woods a lot individually. I don't know if he's a great fit for this team. I like Isaiah Likely, who's maybe too much of a receiver. Windermeyer, I think, could be a good fit. Blake said he's like a fourth rounder, probably. James Mitchell's coming off a torn ACL, but he tore it early in the year. He might be a guy. I wonder about Bellinger from San Diego State also. What is why are people so anti Tyler Smith? Just the rawness? Charlie Kolar from Iowa State's intriguing to me. Also, is huge. Caleb, I mean, your question is one of those things like I won't predict that they're going to draft a smaller wide receiver until after I see them draft a smaller wide receiver. Otherwise, I'd like Dotson a lot. Gun shy on tackles. I mean, I understand that, but I'd be gun shy on offensive linemen, generally speaking. I mean, they've got to get right tackle resolved one way or the other. They've got to get it resolved. So if Radens isn't a right tackle, you got to get a fucking right tackle in there and get it going. I mean, guards seem to miss less. They've only drafted one, with a value pick in Davis. They signed Saffold to a big contract. Saffold was only here 3 years. It feels like a lot longer than that. I mean, I think Dotson will be there at 26. I just don't think they'll take him. I don't think there's been a lot of off-season praise for Radens, Josh. I mean, he said they couldn't. Vrabel said he couldn't start yet. That's not off-season praise. So Calcaterra, Blake, I was talking to him about him yesterday, said he doesn't catch with his hands. He got good hand. Like when he catches with his hands, he looks really good. And a lot of the highlights of him are him catching with his hands. But his speed is his thing. And Blake said he catches too much with his body, which takes him to the ground or takes away his speed. If you're catching with your body, it takes away your speed. So I like Mechie a lot, but is he going to be there in the third round? I think that probably is being too rigid in your molds, that you don't want a 5'11" receiver, though. What does Dotson weigh, I think, is an important thing. But they like big, strong guys who are strong on their feet and who are big targets. And, quite frankly, it's worked for them. So you can only hold it against them so much. I mean, it's worked for them in terms of them winning games. So I don't know how upset you can be with that. Got to go retweet this tight end story, which hasn't done as well as we'd like so far. How do we like the scouting reports from Blake? No, Adam, they always say the most important thing is getting open, catching the football, and blocking. And sometimes they say blocking first. So let's not forget that. How big is Dotson? Anybody have that in front of them? My computer had to shut down while I was dealing with this camera problem, and I don't have stuff like that in front of me, unfortunately. Alec Pierce, DG likes. I'm intrigued by him a little bit also. No, Ben, AJ's not going to replace gripe into the Titans were drafting a replacement for him. They need a wide receiver. They needed a wide receiver last year. They struck out. They need a wide receiver this year. You got to be 3 deep, and they're not 3 deep. If Woods can't go on opening day, they're not 2 deep. $183. So I think they'd be more concerned about the 183 than the 511 for Dotson. What else on your mind? I think Baker's got to wind up in Seattle. I mean, Pittsburgh would be a good place for him. Carolina would be a good place for him, depending on what happens this weekend. But Adam, in terms of Blake being negative about the guys he writes up, I think that's kind of what scouts do, is find holes in people to a degree. All right. So this was largely disastrous. The Colts don't have a first round pick, Joshua, but I would expect that they will go hard after receivers and defensive backs, though they've done some pretty good work on the defensive backfield with Gilmore and McLeod. Jaguars, Hutchinson, Walker. Wouldn't be surprised still if it's an offensive lineman. So we'll see. All right. I am very sorry for the technical issues, which are now resolved, and try to do one of these tomorrow night after banging out a column about the first round pick. If you guys are still awake, and same thing on Friday night and definitely late Saturday afternoon. So it'll be better. Sorry, stupid computer let me down, let us down. Good to see a lot of the hardcore people in here. So sorry again. Don't block the box, do lock the locks. Check out Outkick 360 tomorrow, 2 to 5 local in the Central Time, and adjusted for your time zone. Yeah, this team wouldn't have liked Deshaun Jackson. And I think it thinks that speed is overrated to a degree. I can't go live right after the pick, but I hope to go live before the end of the night to discuss the pick. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again. See you.